Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be covering navigation and we have three types, that is stack, tab and drawer. So before we get started, let's see where we left. So this is our basic index.jsx file, correct? And this is how the output is looking like. We have a simple text on the top left corner, and then this index.jsx file is situated inside the app folder, right? Now, to cover the first type, that is stack navigation, what we need to do is create another file inside the app folder. So let's click on app and click on the first icon, that is the new file, and type underscore layout dot jsx. All right. Now this is the syntax. We need to write underscore before the file's name so that it is distinguished from the other files. So in the layout, we'll be giving the style of navigation that we want. So first let's go inside the index and make all the changes. So instead of this sentence, let's pass stack navigation. All right, just for our clarity. And next, let's write touchable opacity. All right, it's automatically imported in the first sentence. So let's close the stack. All right, and inside this, let's type a basic text, that is go to home page, because in this stack navigation we'll be navigating between two two pages. All right, so let's just copy this touchable opacity and paste it again. Right, now we have two buttons. Let's call this profile. All right, this is done. Now let's give some inline styling so that it looks visually appealing. Let's give a basic background color, that is red, and let's add the same style to the other button as well. Here, let's see how the output looks like. Let's give some margin so that there's a gap between both the components. Let's say 10. All right, now there's a little gap. Okay, let's just keep it very simple. So now in the index page, all we did is add two touchable opacities so that those are basically buttons. So when we click on one of these, I want the home page to be open when I click on the home page wala component, and the profile page to be open when I click on this. So let's enable that functionality. So before we do anything else, let's create the files. So inside the app folder, we'll be adding another file called home, because that is the first thing our component needs to have, the home page. So let's just run the shortcut, the RNFE boilerplate, and this is there. This is the home page. All right, as simple as that. I saved this file. Now let's get that out. And inside the app folder, let's create another file, that is profile.jsx, because in the index page, that was our second component, correct? So let's do the same in this file as well. This is done. Now let's edit this text. This is the profile page. All right, I've saved this as well. Now the basic structure is ready. Now let's edit the layout file. All right, now let's do the same thing, RNFE, and instead of this, let's rename this as root layout, because this is the base folder of our project, correct? App folder is usually the base folder. So let's write root layout as our function's name, and let's rename this as well, because the function and the export statement needs to have the same function's name. All right, this is done. Now let's get rid of these view and text components because we won't be needing it. And let's remove this as well. Now inside the root return function, write stack. You can see the import statement was automatically generated. We are importing stack component from export outer. All right, let's close this. And now inside the stack tags, write stack dot screen. Let's give a little space, a slash, along with the closing angular bracket. So this is done. And now let's name our files. In this case, we have the first file as index, correct? We have the index file. Simply name all the files available in this folder besides the layout, because layout is what we're working on right now. So besides layout, name all these files in this particular syntax. All right, I just did that. So I'll just paste these lines again. And instead of index, the second file that we have in this folder is home. And the third one is profile. All right, this is done. Now, what did we do in this particular file? We imported stack component from expo router, and then we renamed our function with root layout, and that is what we will be exporting as well. And then we called the stack tag and closed it as well. And within the stack tabs, we have stack.screen, and inside that we have an attribute called name, and we are simply naming all the files available in the folder. As simple as that. Now let's go back to the output and see if it's working. I've reloaded this and now I'm clicking on home page. It's not working. Let's see why that is. So we simply added touchable opacity, correct? We have not added the link here. So let's do that. Let's import link and router from expo router. All right. This is done. Now let's call this over here. Let's give link tag. I've copied the closing tag and let's paste it below the touchable opacities component. And let's do the same thing again. Link, let's close it and let's copy the closing tag and paste it after the touchable opacity ends. All right. Now let's give the link. There is something called href. All right. In this particular button, we are writing home page, correct? Go to the home page. So we need to give home page ka link. So we simply wrote home inside double quotations. Let's do the same thing again. href equal to double quotations. And in this particular button, we want to go to profile page. So let's simply write profile. Now let's go back to the output and see if it's working. Okay, we are now at the home page and let's go back here and go to profile page. Cool, it's working. So this is how stack navigation looks like. All right. We have two touchable opacities over here and all we wanted to do was navigate to the page after clicking on the respective component. All right. So stack navigation is done. Okay. So the next on list we have tab navigation. So whenever we are working on some application, suppose this is how it is. On the bottom part, we have like 3 to 4 icons, right? And when you click on those icons, you can load another page or go to some other page. It gets redirected, correct? Let's do that now. So let's come back to the code. Here it is. And let's get rid of this. All right, let's remove this as well. We won't be needing link now. And let's rename this as tab navigation. All right. Now, instead of going to the home page, we will be loading all the tabs, right? Let's save this and go back to the output. You can simply edit the URL here. Instead of being inside the profiles file, you can simply hit backspace until all you can see is localhost colon 8081. And when you click enter, you'll be inside the index file. So all I wanted was a simple button. uh, After I click on this button, I need to be redirected to the tabs wala page. So let's make that happen. Let's go back to the code. And here you have the app folder, right? Up until now, we were working on this app folder itself. Now, what you need to do is click on app and add another folder itself. The second icon is meant for creating a new folder. So let's add another folder called tabs. And we need to write this inside parenthesis. Alright, inside parenthesis, all we wrote is tabs. Let's click enter. And now, inside the tabs folder, you need to write another layouts file. Because layout is meant for every single navigation. In app folder, we ensured that stack navigation is done. So we had a respective layout file called root layout, correct? Now, since we want to create tab navigation, we need to make sure that another layout file is there specifically for tab navigation. So we created another layout file, and now you can create all the other files like home.jsx again inside tabs folder. All right, let's run the shortcut. We have a simple home page. This is the home page. Saved it, remove that. And then inside the tab folder, let's add another file as feed.jsx. And now rnfe again. And instead of this, we'll write this is the feed page. Save this, remove this as well. Now, let's go to the layout file that we created inside tabs folder. Let's run the same shortcut again, but here let's type tab layout. Okay, in this particular file, which is situated inside tabs folder, the constant will be named, the constant function will be named as tab layout. So let's rename this as well because the function and the export statement needs to match. Tab layout. Done. Now let's remove all of this inside the return function as well as the import statements. And now inside the return function, you'll import something called tabs. As soon as you click enter, the import statement will be automatically generated. So what are we doing? We are importing tabs from something called expo router. Like we did in the previous case, we imported stack component from the expo router. Similarly, here we are importing tabs from expo router because we are working on tab navigation right now. So let's close this with an angular bracket. And now between the both tags, what you need to do is tabs.screen. Let's give a space slash with an angular bracket, the closing angular bracket. So between this, you can give the name like we did before. In this case, we have two, that is home and feed. So let's paste the same line again and type feed. Since we have two basic uh, files over here, we'll just give two lines. And yeah, let's go back to the index page now. And remember in the previous case, what we did is gave a little space here and wrote link tag with an href attribute. In this case, let's try something different. Instead of giving another link, let's try making that happen inside touchable opacity itself. So we added styling here, right? After the curly brace ends, let's give a little space and type on press. It's pretty self-explanatory. So whenever you write this particular attribute, all you can do is give a simple arrow function. All right. One second. All you can do is give a simple arrow function, and we imported router over here, right? Router with a small r. Let's write that here along with push. Second. Yeah, I think now it's fine. We have touchable opacity over here. We have the style component, and on press, we have this. On press में need to give curly braces here and here. All right, now it's fine. And before the closing tag ends, you need to close the curly brace first. So this is the proper syntax. First, we gave the on press attribute, and within the curly braces, you're giving a simple arrow function, a parenthesis equal to symbol, and a closed angular bracket. After that, you are writing something called router that starts with a small r. Dot push. Now, what do you want to push? In this case, touchable opacity is showing go to tabs. So we want to make sure that home page that is inside the tabs folder, home page needs to be pushed. So within double quotations, let's write home and save this file. I think it should be working now. Let's go to the output, refresh this once. Home page is done. Yes, one little change. When you were working on the index file, We gave home as the value, right? Inside the double quotations. Make sure that you write tabs as well because we need to make sure to instruct the program properly. Inside the tabs folder, that is this, we have a file called home. So make sure that this is correctly written. Only then your buttons functionality will work. So if I click on this, you have the tab navigation enabled perfectly. Here we have the home page and the feed as well. So here you have the headers, right? Suppose you want to remove that. What you can do is come back to the layout file that is situated inside the tabs folder. And now, before the tab screen is ending, you can give something called options. Give another set of curly brace, and inside this, you can write header shown, colon, false. Now, when you save this, remember we were working on the home page, right? Let's try looking at the home page. You can see a header is missing now, right? We had this unnecessary header here and we just removed the home page ka header. So let's do the same in the feeds page as well. Let's copy this and paste it in the next line as well. So the unnecessary headers are gone because we won't need them. And now you have a simple navigation ready. And now you can see the downward arrows over here, right? Suppose you want to change these icons. What you can do is open a new tab and look for something called Expo Vector Icons. Click on the first link that is popping up, and here you have a list of icons that you can use. In my case, I have a home and feed options. So I'll look for something called home, and yes, suppose you're selecting this. It is clearly telling you what to do next. The first step is to import this particular line into your code. So you can click on the copy button, go back to your code inside the tabs folder and particularly the layout.jsx file. Now in the second line, paste what you copied from that website. And let's go back to the website. The second step is to copy this particular statement into your code. So let's copy this as well. Go back to your code and inside the options attribute that you just mentioned, you have two curly braces, right? Before that ends, give a comma and type something called tab bar icon. All right. Now give a simple arrow function. Let me get this to another line. Give a simple arrow function that is a set of parentheses with an equal to and a closed angular bracket. And now paste what you copied. All we did is write tab bar icon, a simple arrow function, and paste what we copied from here. All right, that is done. Now let's save this file and see if it worked. You can see instead of a downward arrow, you can see a home icon here that we just copied from here. So let's change the feed icon as well. Let's see if we find something nice. Okay, this works. Now, like you can see, the icon family is different in this case. Here we have material icons, and the one we just copied is n-typo. So make sure that you import the family in case it's different. Now suppose I have an n-typo component as well. Let's go back to user, for example. Here we have another n-typo family, right? If this is the case, you don't have to import this again because it's already there in your code. Suppose it's from the same family, you just have to import it once. And in our case, when we were looking for the feed icon, we have material icons family. So since this is a different family, you'll have to import it again. So I copied it from here and pasted it in the other line. And now let's go back to the steps. And here the second step would be copying this. And this is the second screen, that is feed. And inside the options attribute, after the false value is given, let's give a space and tab bar icon. Be very careful about the capital letters and all, guys. And then give a set of parentheses and equal to symbol with a closed angular bracket and paste what you copied. As simple as that. Now let's save the file. You can see the downward arrow is gone and the icons are properly imported. Now, all these are little things that you can, change according to your preference. We have the documentation ready, that is the React Native document that is already sent in the community. So you guys can simply follow this document in case you want to learn this in depth or make some more changes. So you have the outline here, correct? Tab navigation is given. You have the proper folder structure and then the basic code along with some programs. So you have everything in this documentation. You can simply refer to these available options in case you want to change anything else. All right. You have many options under this attribute. So you can customize your app according to your will. So that is about tab navigation. Now the final one for this video is drawer. So let's discuss that and we'll be done for the day. This is the code, correct? All right. Now, up until now, we've worked on the stack navigation and the tabs as well. Now let's create another folder inside app folder. That is our base file. Let's click on the second icon and type drawer. Remember guys, it needs to be written inside the parenthesis. So click enter. Now we have another folder inside the app folder, which is our base. So let's add another layout because every navigation needs to have its own layout file. So we type layout underscore layout.jsx. This is ready. Now let's type rnfe and here let's call this drawer layout for our personal clarity. All right. Now we won't be needing the view and text components. So let's get rid of this. All right. And you won't be needing this as well. We need to work with the index and the layout files. So let's remove all of these. All right. Now let's create more files inside the drawer folder. Simply click on the first icon. And in this case, we'll be adding settings.jsx. And then we have home again. Then something else. Profile.jsx. Three simple files. So inside profile, let's type the same thing. We have this is the profile page. Let's save that and get that out. Then RNFE again. Inside the text component, this is the home page. Save this. And then inside the settings file, we do the same thing again. This is the settings page. Saved it and removed it. So all we did is add three files inside drawer folder, correct? Now let's edit the layout wala file. So before we get started with drawer navigation, I want you to visit the Expo Router's website again. Expo Router. Remember we used this particular website during installation. Visit that again, click on the first link, and the previous time all we did was click on installation and followed the guide. If you scroll down, you can find something called navigation patterns. Click on that. Here you have all the guides available for every type of navigation. In case you want to learn these in detail, you can refer to this documentation. But now, particularly for drawer navigation, we'll be dealing with this. So click on drawer and here, like you can see, to use this navigation, you'll need to install some more dependencies. So this is all we need. Copy this, go back to your code, click on the second icon. And for now, let's close the server. For that, you'll press Ctrl C. The server is stopped. Now you can paste what you copied from the website. Okay, the installation is done. So the reason why we installed some more dependencies is because it is not done while installation. While we were installing the project in the beginning, these dependencies were not installed. That is the reason we visited the website again, followed the guide that is under the Expo router. We have installation guide that we followed, Kada. If you scroll down, you can find something called navigation patterns. Click on that, and here we have drawer. Inside that, you have this command. Simply copy that and we just pasted this in our terminal over here, and the dependencies are installed now. So let's close the terminal, and now let's type drawer, and let's import it manually. Import drawer from expo router drawer. All right, we need to type this manually, and then inside the drawer tab, like we did before, drawer dot screen, a slash with a closing angular bracket. And in this folder, we have home, profile, and settings, right? So let's give that over here. Home, another screen, and another one. Instead of this, we have profile, and then you have settings. All right, let's save this. This is done. A basic layout.jsx file is done. Under which folder? Drawer folder, because let's close this. All we are dealing with is the drawer folder right now. So this is done. Now let's go back to the index folder, because ultimately index folder is what will be shown on the browser. So let's rename this as drawer navigation, and let's go to drawer elements. All right, as simple as that. And now we wrote on press attribute, right? We wrote a simple arrow function, and after that we wrote something called router that starts with a small r. Dot push. What are we pushing in this case? We are pushing the home page from drawers folder, not the tabs folder. So let's edit that and write drawer. Since our folder is called drawer, within the parenthesis we wrote that slash home. So where is our home file situated? Inside our drawers folder. As simple as that. So that is done, and this is our basic code for the index.jsx file. Now let's see if it's working. Let's go back to the file and let's edit the URL here. Oh, we stopped the server, right? Let's run the command npx expo start again, and let's wait for it to run. All right, the command has been run, and now you can go back to the output. You have drawer navigation just like we wanted to display, and then the touchable opacity is over here. Let's click on that, and you can see the three lines have appeared on the top left corner. Let's click on that. Now you have three files that we wanted to display. Settings पे click करने से we get the settings file, and after we click on the home button, we have the home page being displayed. So this is about the drawer navigation. Now suppose you want to hide this as well. You can go back to the layout for drawer folder, and you can do the similar thing, that is add options that we did previously. You can close this and type header shown and set this as false. Now when you do this and go back to you can simply edit the URL in case you want to go back to the first page, that is index. And now when you click on this, you get the home page. So that is what we wanted to do in this case. Let's remove this. And this is the basic code for drawer navigation. All right. This is working perfectly. And that is it for this video. In case you guys have any doubts, reach out to us. We are willing to help. And please practice, guys. You need to watch all these videos and be up to date, because we won't be repeating these concepts again. So, thank you.